Hey, what's up everybody? Today I figured I'd run through my vocal chain and talk about the plugins that I use on my vocals. So most of the plugins I'm going to be using are Waves plugins. I like these plugins a lot. A couple are going to be universal audio plugins. Some might even be stock plugins, but all the information I'm saying you can translate over to your stock plugins from whatever DAW you're using, and it really doesn't matter. Like, you don't need to go crazy buying plugins. It's not the purpose of this video. I just want to show you what I'm using and why I'm using it. So we're going to jump into Logic right now and I'll show you that. Okay, so we're in Logic. This is one of the songs that I've been working on. I have mixed and mastered this song and I really like how it came out. And I did some different things to the vocals, so I figured I'd show you what I did to the lead vocal and just give you some pointers on mixing lead vocals. So let's go to verse 2 because I really like how that particular vocal take came out, and I'm going to turn off this limiter because, as I said, I already mastered it and we don't want it to be super loud. So I have the vocal chain routed to bus 3 and I'm using the same thing for the hook and also the first verse, and that is what makes up the song really, besides all these other backing vocals and stuff, but we're going to be just focusing on the lead vocal. Let's just have you hear it without anything and then we'll build upon that. I'll also just keep this parallel track in here. This just gives it a little more fullness. I did just do a video on that, so if you guys are interested in parallel compression, watch that video. I'll put a card right here.
I know it's hard to change your ways when all you feel is pain. Every time the sun comes out, it always turns to rain.
So I do have auto-tune on this, and I don't have it on like a crazy setting because I don't like the super auto-tune sound. But up here, this is in D major. Just set it to that and change the retune speed because it's on classic. So I do have auto-tune and I do use that because I like how my voice sounds with it. And it's up to you as to whether or not you want to use that or not, or how crazy you want to get with it. So now let's listen with the actual song and instrumentation.
I know it's hard to change your ways when all you feel is pain. Every time the sun comes out, it always turns to rain.
Okay, so the first thing I like to start with is an EQ where I'm scooping out the low end and some other frequencies here. So I'm rolling off this low end because if you turn it on, you can see that the low end over here is sort of just muddying up the track.
I know it's hard to change your ways when all you feel is pain.
So over here between 125 and, really all the way over to the right is where you're going to be hearing the vocal, and all this is doing is just muddying up the track. So I usually roll it over to about 100. In this case, I think I went to like 120.
I know it's hard to change your ways when all you feel is pain.
Now over here, I'm at 205. Around 200, I always find is really muddy and it just has this sort of boomy sound. So I always like to scoop that out, and I kind of have the Q at a broad Q. It's not very specific like that. Just this in general, I found this frequency is kind of just boomy. So I always scoop that out. And then over here at 3, this was another frequency where I'll usually just boost this up so that I can listen to it and hear the frequency that I don't like.
I know it's hard to change your ways when all you feel is pain.
So that makes a dramatic difference. And that's really all I do for the initial EQ. I'm just taking stuff out. And from there, I just did a video on this. This is the Manley Voxbox. And what this is essentially an EQ over here, a DeEsser, and some compression happening, and it's a preamp. It's a really cool sounding preamp. It smooths out the vocal. So if you're interested in this particular plugin, then watch my video on it. Again, I'll put another card right here so that you guys can watch that video.
I know it's hard to change your ways when all you feel is pain.
So just with those two, it makes a dramatic difference. without them.
I know it's hard to change your ways when all you feel is pain. I know it's hard to change your ways when all you feel is pain.
So what's going on over here, like I said, a little bit of compression, like 3 dB in gain reduction over here, and then around 12K I'm boosting. There's a little bit of a dip in 200, so that's scooping out some more of that frequency that I don't like. And then it looks like over here I'm boosting a little bit around 100 to round out the vocal, give it a little bit of low end. And up here I'm just using a DeEsser just a little bit because I am using a DeEsser in the chain later on. But this plugin right here really does most of the work, to be honest with you. This is like an all-in-one plugin, which I really like, so I like what that did. Next thing I do is add in a compressor just to further tame the vocal, especially where I had this pre-chorus over here on verse 1. You can see what this is doing. Let's go up here.
Oh no, baby, I'm trying to help you. Please just let me in. You don't have to say a thing.
So as you can tell, that is really squashing the signal because I want everything to sound roughly in the same place in terms of the loudness. I don't want it to be crazy loud, but I don't want to lose the dynamics either. So what I'm doing with this compressor is taming that furthermore because I felt like without it, it was sort of louder than everything else and kind of just piercing. So this is without it.
Oh no, baby, I'm trying to help you.
And with it.
Oh no, baby, I'm trying to help you. Please just let me in.
So it makes quite a big difference. Now over here, solid EQ, this is literally stock from Logic. Like I just go over here and this is where I'm doing an additive EQ, and a lot of the time when I'm adding frequencies, I'm just usually adding to the high mids and the highs. So I'm just adding a dB over here around 3000, which a lot of people say you shouldn't do, but I did anyway because I thought it sounded cool. And over here around 12K, which honestly I should probably crank that more to 15 since I already added around 12, because that's gonna just make it too harsh adding too much in the same frequency. And what this does is gives it like a top end sheen and shimmery sort of top end, which I really like. And for this particular song, I felt like it needed that in order to cut through the mix because I have a lot going on with the drums and instrumentation. So this is with that.
I know it's hard to change your ways when all you feel is pain.
And without it.
I know it's hard to change your ways when all you feel is pain.
So it's quite bland without it, and this adds a lot of character and flavor. So I really like that. And as you can see, most of mixing is leveling, really 80%, and EQ and compression, and using like a preamp to give it like analog character, which is what I did with the Voxbox. But for the most part, it really is just EQ and compression all the way until you sort of add a little bit of flavor later on. But what you should be focusing on, in my opinion, is EQ and compression, because what we can do is sort of get in the habit of just slapping effects on there, and then you're just, you have something that's totally washed out with a reverb or a delay, and it just doesn't make any sense, and it's not musical. It sounds like crap. So I think you should stick to that and you'll be good. And like I said, I did add a DeEsser, and I'm going pretty hard with this DeEsser. I found for my voice right around 5500, and really for male voices a lot of the time is around 5500. I'm squashing this because I have some S's, especially over here, like I said in this pre-chorus, but even in the chorus too. But I'll show you what's going on here.
I know it's hard to change your ways when all you feel is pain.
If we go over this S chain here, you can really hear what's going on. So with this S chain, you can hear exactly what's being squashed, and I actually have S's but also F's, so those can be harsh too. When I say feel the pain, you can really hear the F being squashed there. Now this is a plugin from Waves. This is the Mondo Mod, and I like to use this on a fair amount of stuff, like guitars and vocals and all sorts of instruments. And what this does is adds a lot of stereo width to a vocal. And when you have like a top end shimmer like that, I kind of like to spread it out a little bit. And it can also be like a phaser. You have all sorts of options within this. You can have it be a gate, you can have it be a phaser, flutter, whatever you want it to be, a chorus. But I went over here to this PA default preset and sort of mixed in just a tiny bit. Like the mix is only at 4. And a lot of people will use this as a send. I didn't. I just thought it sounded cool right in the chain. So this is how it sounds.
I know it's hard to change your ways when all you feel is pain.
And this is without it.
I know it's hard to change your ways when all you feel is pain.
And the problem with that is that it's too mono. Like it just doesn't sound like it has enough stereo width. And let's hear the whole thing in context with the song.
I know it's hard to change your ways when all you feel is pain. Every time the sun comes out, it always turns to rain. I wish that I could take away the hurt you feel inside.
So you guys can tell that really fits in good with the mix and what's going on with the drums, the guitar, and all the instrumentation that's happening. I have a little pad and stuff in there, so there's a lot to compete with, and I just feel like these particular plugins take it and push it up and then sort of spread it out in a really pleasant way, and it really sits nice in the mix. Now over here I have my sends going on, and this is where I add a little bit of flavor. Not a lot, but a little bit, and they're subtle things, but they do make a big difference. So let's just solo this out again, and I have these in stereo when I'm using effects instead of flipping it to mono. I've never really gotten a clear answer on that. I just feel like that makes sense to me, to have stuff be sort of more stereo as an effect and have the actual vocal itself. Like if you go to the bus, you can see this is all in mono. So that seems to make the most sense to me, and then add effects to make it more stereo. But I mean, I could be wrong about that. Take that with a grain of salt. So the first thing I'm doing is adding Echoboy Jr. and I really like this plugin. This is an echo or a delay from Soundtoys. And it's just an 1/8 note delay, so it's like a slapback sort of delay. And I like how here you can add, or choose I should say, the different types of sound that you want. It changes sonically. If you go to a cheap tape, or ambient memory is going to sound more like a reverb. Transmitter is going to be like that telephone vocal effect. Very, very cool. So let's listen with that.
I know it's hard to change your ways when all you feel is pain.
So just a slapback delay, very simple. Over here I'm using Enigma, and this is again like an echo, and it's just a different echo to give it a different feel and different sound.
I know it's hard to change your ways.
I'm going to be honest, for this one I just went to a particular preset, LR Echo, and that seemed to give it a lot of stereo width, and it also added a more ambient sound, and I wanted the particular song to sound reminiscent. Okay, now this is where I add in the reverb, and this is again a Waves plugin, which I usually use before I run into this H-Reverb. And this is a really cool plugin because you have a lot of different parameters in here. A lot of the time, again, I'm going to be honest, I'm lazy. I'm a preset guy. I like presets, so I'll just go to different presets and build the tracks based on that. Maybe tweak it a little bit, but honestly, not much. This is what it sounds like with everything.
I know it's hard to change your ways when all you feel is pain.
Now in context with the song.
I know it's hard to change your ways when all you feel is pain. Every time the sun comes out, it always turns to rain. I wish that I could take away the hurt you feel inside.
Now, just for context with these other vocals that I added in, because this is important, like mixing a lead, obviously important, but what you do with the doubles and adding these high doubles really makes a difference for getting the vibe that I was going for on this particular song. So I'll let you listen to that. This song will be coming out soon. I just don't know when as of right now, but stay tuned and it will come out at some point.
I know it's hard to change your ways when all you feel is pain. Every time the sun comes out, it always turns to rain. I wish that I could take away the hurt you feel inside.
So as you can tell, all these plugins together really bring out the best in the vocal. You know, you might have a great vocal and think to yourself, why doesn't this sound the way that, you know, I envisioned it to when I first wrote the song or I first recorded it? And it's probably because the way that you're mixing it. I think if you have a good mix on a lead vocal, it can really make it stand out and make it shine. And the thing for me that's important is just taking the original concept or idea that I had and getting as close to it in a digital recording that I can. And it's not going to be perfect, but getting as close as you possibly can is going to give you results that you're going to be really happy with. So I hope you guys got something out of this video. If you did, please like the video and subscribe to the channel because it does help a lot, helps the channel to grow. So again, thank you, and I'll see you guys in the next video.